Well, with a weekend full of odd results, definitely a weekend for neutrals, we're here again to discuss everything Premier League. My name is Ian and I'm joined by Mike. We are FDT-TV. Make sure you go over to YouTube and type that in and look for our big yellow cup. If not, we're available via video and audio on several different platforms, including Spotify, which is very, very good. How you doing, Mike?
Yes, mate, we are top of the league. We are top of the league.
They changed one of the rule changes for this year. I don't know if you realised, but it's a bit like golf, so it's lowest score wins.
Yeah, I did read that, actually. Changes coming up in, in fact, it was one of those unwritten rules.
Yeah.
But I've seen it coming out more and more, so...
So in that sense, we top of the league. Maybe not. It's a lot of negativity around West Ham again, and a lot of backroom changes has caused all sorts of chaos this year. But not to take anything away from the mighty Brighton, but Newcastle. What a game that was! What a game! 3-3 against City. City didn't come back and win, which lost me money, bastards. But what I will say is, having watched that game and watched the last first few games from City, Phil Foden is a greedy bastard. Doesn't like passing to anybody, where he could have slipped Haaland in for now 3 goals so far this season, and he's done it for none of them. Pep Guardiola hit the roof for that first chance that he should have slipped him through, but I wonder how long it will be if he carries on doing that sort of thing before Pep drops him.
Yeah, I've noticed it on certainly I think it was their first game. I believe it happened as well. You can see the frustration for Haaland. He's a proven goal scorer. I kind of get where Phil Foden's coming from, because there's something that was communicated out from our lot.
Yep.
In terms of some of the youngers coming through wanting to impress, and I think you mentioned it as well for the Liverpool setup in the last couple of podcasts, that these people are starting to get their chances, but unless you start making it all playing for the team, you're going to struggle. I mean, they scored 3 goals, I get that, but you're right, it could have been about 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, it won't be long. I guarantee it won't be long.
Yeah, well, so it's one of those things. Liverpool have done very well over the last few years because they've been not necessarily been the best individually, but as a team, they've been the best team, and that's how they've ripped people apart, because they've played as a unit. But with that game kicking off very shortly, interesting lineup. Harry Maguire's been dropped, Ronaldo's been dropped, Luke Shaw's been dropped. Martial is back on the bench, which could be well, but if Manchester United don't score in this game for their club goal of the month, they have only own goals to choose from, which is fantastic. And they will again go bottom of us, because I think they're going to lose tonight. I will say that. Although I did get a little free bet, and considering the results that Leeds pulled out, that the Newcastle pulled out at the time I got sent a free bet, I chuck it on Manchester United winning. It's a fairly big return off of a free bet, but yeah, I'll let you know if it comes in.
Mate, do you know what? Well, the way these games have gone this weekend, because there's been some pretty big scalps, shall we say, or some unpredictable results.
Yes.
It really wouldn't surprise me. With the start that Liverpool have had as well, you could see it going. In fact, you can see it going either way, but it'd be even more hysterical if it went for United's way.
Yeah.
Come on, United.
Yeah, that team that everyone can beat in a minute. Easy 3 points, and oh my God, they've pulled out a result. But yeah, Harry Maguire, obviously, wasn't too long ago, there was a petition that, to get him on the £50 note. The love of the country has gone, Mr. Maguire, and certainly in Manchester. Do you think he's still going to make the next part of at the end of next month, the next international break? Do you think he's still going to be in the middle of the England defence?
This was a very interesting conversation that I heard on the radio a couple of days ago. It might have been back in the last week, where they were talking about certain players within certain positions and whether they will be featured in the internationals or the World Cup, blah, 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 blah. And one of the arguments that was kind of put forward is like, it's something that obviously when Gareth Southgate was appointed, he did say that he was going to be picking players on form, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
But he's been in the job a little while now. And for those sorts of players where they're not doing very well for their club, they have done okay, if not excellent, at international level. It's a weird one. I would say based on club performance alone, you can't pick them because there's going to be other players that are performing a lot better in those positions. But you can't ignore the fact of what they've done in previous tournaments and stuff. So
and I think
it's a tough one.
Jordan Pickford's another one for that. I think Aaron Ramsdale's got to be number one. Dean Henderson has got to be in there, and I think Nick Pope has as well. On form, I mean, Pickford has been phenomenal for England the last couple of tournaments, but on merit, he shouldn't be in the team at the minute. Maybe that's a subject for next week.
Yes.
We'll start discussing England. Obviously, we have got the lead up to the World Cup coming a little bit later on this year, and I'm sure it will come around a lot sooner than we anticipate. But obviously, Liverpool, Manchester United tonight. Leeds schooled Chelsea. Phenomenal game to watch. Everyone liked to see a keeper get it wrong, but that was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And thoroughly deserved by Leeds, which was good. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to look at the other fixtures, but I've pressed the wrong button on me calendar. So on the Saturday, we see Tottenham beat Wolves. Harry Kane, I think his first goal of the season. A bit of I didn't really see it, but Wolves seem to be average.
Wolves should have destroyed that game. I mean, fair play to Spurs. They were resilient throughout, and I genuinely thought the Wolves were going to nick it. But I think it was Harry Kane in like the 80 or in fact was it 80 minutes or whatever it was. Oh no, it is early on than that. But they were hanging on at certain points. It was an ugly game, but certainly based on the first half performance, I think Wolves should have been up.
Yep.
In the second half, I would say that Spurs definitely came out and played better. It was probably the right result, but you just never like to see him win, do you? And he's now moved up in above Sergio Aguero in the all-time scorers in the Premier League as well.
Yeah,
250 goals for Spurs.
But he still won nothing, Mike.
No, that's true. No, he's won a cup, mate.
Big and prestigious. I think we had that conversation. And then we see Crystal Palace take Aston Villa to school. I think one of the lesser talked about results, considering the other results that had gone on this weekend. But Wilfried Zaha seems to be coming into a little bit of form. We didn't really see it last year, the best of him. But say he started, and if he carries on, obviously I'm sure during the January transfer window there will be a few clubs that are after him. I know he's sort of voiced his concerns about going out, but Vieira's certainly got him ticking, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm, definitely. It's another one of these players that he thought was going to be the end of. I mean, we've been linked to him, God knows how many transfer windows. And I think he's definitely one of these players that you do need the right manager and man management to probably get the best out of him. And we saw glimpses of it last year, never really consistent. But yeah, he's doing phenomenally at the moment.
And then, say we move on to Everton, Nottingham Forest, which was the last 10-minute game. Both goals in the last 10 minutes. I think Brennan Johnson scored for Nottingham Forest, who's a player I'm sort of excited to see a little bit more of in the Premier League, because I think he's quite an exciting player. And then Damari Gray equalised, but again, nothing really from Everton. Struggling without a striker. I know they've been linked with the guy from Brighton who's fallen out of favour, but they've got to get
more pie.
That's it. More pay. Yeah. So they've got to get something over the line and get some goals. Some of the play is decent. I mean, Anthony Gordon, everyone seems to be trying to buy at the minute. Good signing, but they don't want to let him go. So do you think Frank could turn it around, or do you think it depends if they can get a striker?
I think it very much depends if they get a striker. I think they're lacking in a couple of positions, if I'm being completely honest. And just going back to our predictions, obviously you mentioned Steven Gerrard for the sack race. I mentioned Frank Lampard. I don't like to say it because obviously we like to see managers given a chance, and looking at seeing what's happened with Arteta, especially speaking close to home. Obviously, we are starting to see the improvements of him clearing the squad out, making the squad his own, giving players an opportunity, and he's starting to see the rewards for it. But I think with the way that Everton have finished the last couple of seasons, I really think it's just going to be a matter of time. Unless they start picking points up, then it's going to be a matter of time for him.
And I mean, they both have worse results than Gary Neville did at Valencia.
Yep.
So, I mean, and that didn't end well, did it?
No.
Then we see Mr. Mitrovic scoring a last-minute winner against Brentford. 3-2 finish there. Very exciting game. Again, one for neutrals. I don't know if you know that's the title for this week's podcast, but it definitely was. Fulham are showing a little bit more resilience than I thought they were going to. Obviously, what we have seen with Marco Silva, who's in charge of Fulham when he was in charge of Hull, they had a really good spell, and then it fell off a cliff. They went to Everton, they had a really good spell, and it fell off a cliff. And now we're seeing it at Fulham. They're having a really good spell, and I think at some point it's inevitable they're going to fall off a cliff. It's I don't want to say it's learned behaviour, but the bloke in charge doesn't have longevity on his side in the Premier League.
I'm hoping that the wheels fall off the bus on Saturday at 5:30 because that's when we play him.
Well, from what I've seen of Mitrovic this season, he has a really good game. Then there's a game where he should have been sent off 4 times, and then there's a really good game. So theoretically, he's going to get sending off or a broken leg for someone else. But that's the way it's going to go. Leicester Southampton. A game that I don't think many people would have picked Southampton winning, but Leicester really haven't. They're struggling. They're struggling at the minute. And I think as much as some of the big teams are having some odd results, I think it could be a very close battle. That people could be sort of fighting at each other to get in the bottom 3 this season rather than working their way up the table. But yeah, so an interesting result. What do you make of Leicester?
I definitely didn't see that one coming. I had Leicester down for that all day. I mean, again, from looking at their squad, I know they are potentially seeing a few outs, but they've lost a very key player in Kasper Schmeichel. Absolutely instrumental, I think, for the club, and they're really going to suffer. I don't fancy their keeper. Is it? I can't remember his first name. Ward? Chris Ward?
Yeah. I didn't realise Schmeichel had gone.
Yeah, he signed for Nice a couple of weeks ago.
I didn't realise that. I think one of the most underrated keepers in the Premier League. And I think we showed it with Aston Villa when he first signed, with Martinez.
Yep.
A goalkeeper can win you games. They've got rid of a good one. Now they've got a bit of a ropey one. He might come good, but we'll wait and see. And then we moved on to Bournemouth, who hosted Arsenal. A quick Martin Odegaard double and a wonderful strike from William Saliba, who it looked like could have been leaving if it hadn't worked out these first few games.
Absolutely stunning result. It was one of these ones that obviously Bournemouth got absolutely spanked by City a couple of weeks ago. Last week, sorry. They showed a lot of promise in their first game. And you could just see if we were going to slip up, it would be against one of the newly promoted teams.
Yep.
And and then the Arteta out brigade will be smashing all over it. But again, it was looking at the first 3 games, we have started really quickly. It has been a polar opposite to what we had last season and the season before. It took us about 65, 70 minutes to get into the game, at which point we could be 1-2-0 down, and then we're chasing our tails. Now it looks like we're going out, smashing some goals in, and then taking our foot. Game management. I wouldn't say taking our feet off, but game management. But with Bournemouth, I think they had 1 shot on target throughout the whole game. Our defence was solid. The midfield was brilliant. I'd say one of the areas which we lacked, I know we won 3-0, but I would say would be our being clinical enough with our chances. We could have won that game about 5 or 6-0.
Yeah.
But granted, there were some good saves. We got robbed for the offside. I'll come on to that in a minute when we talk about our score predictions. It's so refreshing. It's nice to be this far into the season so far and still feeling positive and not having our hopes and dreams shattered.
Well, it is almost polar opposite to the beginning of the last season, isn't it? So,
absolutely. I just wanted to kill myself last year. This year, I'm happy to put my tackle out the window, wave it around for all the neighbours to see. It's a complete polar opposite. Absolutely love it. And I hope the wheels don't fall off. We've got, I'd say, out of our next 5 fixtures, 3, maybe 4 of those, I would feel confident about getting a result in.
Yep.
Could be some tricky ones in there, but obviously we'll address that in the weeks as they come.
Yeah, and I see a video on an AI who was asked to predict the Premier League 2022-2023 winners, and it did come out with a team which was the Arsenal kit. It was obviously a bit dodgy, but it was Arsenal players celebrating. So yeah, let's see if the AI's got it right. If Elon Musk has done that, then I don't know if it's Elon Musk, but you know what I mean. Then we see Leeds take Chelsea to score. Obviously, Aronson capitalised on Mendy mucking up. Rodrigo seems to have hit some form, and Jack Harrison. The American has got Leeds ticking, hasn't he? But yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It was a shock result. Koulibaly got sent off. They're missing Rudiger, and I think the
lack of striker.
Yes, they will say they got rid of Werner again, who scored in his debut. Absolutely wonderful strike, went under the keeper. But the bloke who owns it seems to be playing Football Manager. I'll just buy everybody and chuck it at it, and hopefully it'll work. But yeah, so
I think they potentially agreed a deal for Aubameyang as well.
Yeah, I think that's a poisonous move.
I do.
I mean, I think from what someone was telling me that Aubameyang played under this owner at Real Madrid at Dortmund. I don't know how true that is, but that was also like 7 years ago. So a lot has changed. Yeah, but then Brighton beat us. New signing gave away a penalty early on, and David Moyes is looking clueless. But that's for another time. We'll get into that in a different video, I think. But then the most exciting game of the day, because I thought 3-0 to Leeds, you couldn't beat it. Newcastle run riot at City, and they showed if you take the game to them, you're going to get something.
Like it.
No, they don't. They're not used to it. Obviously, they did show that resilience to keep coming and keep working and do it, and the quality of their squad got them through in the end. But yeah, they went in 2-1 up. Then scored a third, was 3-1 up. Manchester City come from 3-1 down. I think that's a sign of a champion. In fact, you're 2 goals down in the second half, and you still managed to salvage something out of it. But yeah, absolute brilliant game, and can't beat it. We'd also, I don't know if you see it, Anthony Joshua.
Yes, I didn't actually see this fight. I completely forgot it was on.
It was quite good. It wasn't a boxing match for the sort of the casual fan. It was quite a technical affair. But yeah, he didn't do enough. And then he had a little bit of a meltdown, which Tyson Fury is having great fun picking out bits that he said in his little meltdown and going, well, I can do that, and I'm heavier than you. But interesting one. I mean, I forgot it was on, otherwise we might have predicted it. But that leads us on to our predictions, and I don't know whether you want to add a bonus point for this Manchester United-Liverpool game.
Yeah, yes, we can do.
Because it hasn't kicked off yet.
So, Man versus... Right, so looking back at the last week's fixtures, so Bournemouth versus Arsenal, you had 3-0, I had 4-0. Obviously, we know the score was 3-0, should have been 4, but we had a goal ruled out for offside. So 3 points to you for the correct score, 1 point for me for the correct result. West Ham and Brighton, you had 2-2, I had 2-1, and obviously it was 2-0, so 1 point to you, 1 point to me, 0 points to you, so the total points for the week is 3 points to you, 2 points to me, which moves the scores Ian, you have closed the gap. It's now 7 to you, but with 2 points this week, they definitely helped me out. I'm currently on 8, so there's only 1 point in it. Looking at this week's fixtures, we have Arsenal versus Fulham on the Saturday 5:30 kickoff, Aston Villa versus West Ham, and we'll chuck in the Man United Liverpool one. So we'll start with the Man U Liverpool one because obviously that's going to be the first game. Do you want to give us your predictions first on this one?
Just because for Bants, I'm going to go. Pumping wants to go 1-0 United. I'm going to go 2-1 United.
Okay. I'm going to go.
I know I shouldn't, but you know what I mean?
No, I think I'm going to go 3-0 Liverpool on this one.
I think that's more likely.
Yeah, to be honest, looking at Liverpool, they have had a bit of a blip this season already. But like I said, it seems like it could be the result, which is another shocker. Obviously, we've seen it already a couple of times this weekend, so it really wouldn't surprise me if United do pull something off today.
And it's one of those games as well that it seems to see the end of Manchester United managers. So it could be Ten Hag's last game if they get absolutely obliterated.
Yep. So we go to Saturday evening. Arsenal take on Fulham, and Fulham haven't had a bad start to the season, but we've had an absolute blistering start. Looking at my predictions, they haven't been too far off, I've got to say, in terms of my squad setup picking, substitutions that have been made. I do a weekly prediction show, or we do a weekly prediction show where we look at the lineups, score predictions, yada yada yada. Check out our other videos. But yeah, I think, do you know what? I actually think Fulham will score. With Mitrovic, he's looking like he's carrying over the form from last year. So I would see us conceding, and obviously Bernardo in goal. We know his strengths and weaknesses.
Is he on loan or is he?
I thought it was a permanent transfer, but I heard something the other day that it was a loan.
Because if he's on loan, he won't be playing, will he?
But like I said, I'm pretty sure it was a permanent. I don't know if it's a permanent transfer. Then yeah. In fact,
I'm going to look it up right now for you. I'll tell you.
Cheers.
Bear with me, please.
Because I could have sworn it was like a £10 million or £8 million deal.
Let's accept all of the cookies. Everyone likes cookies. That is why I'm fat. It is a permanent move.
Yeah, I thought it was.
For a reported fee of 3.2 million, rising to 8.10.
Yep. Cool. So yeah, Bernardo in goal. We know his strengths and weaknesses, but our front three are looking absolutely unbelievable. Our Lord and Saviour, Gabby Jesus, he's looking on it. I know he didn't score at the weekend, but he looked pretty shit hot still. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win, and we've got the home advantage as well. So
I'm going to go 2-0 to Arsenal.
Okay.
Only for the fact of I think you'll win, but maybe not as decisively as you have been. Zinchenko, unbelievable player. Yeah, I can't. But yeah, I mean, Gabby Jesus is the highest sought after player in Premier League fantasy football ever. He now has over 80% of people own him. So yeah, brilliant signing, brilliant bit of business. Pep's probably kicking himself. But yeah, what's the next game then?
Aston Villa versus West Ham on Sunday.
Difficult one to call because we play Viborg. We travel to Norway, I think it is, on Thursday. Then we have to come back, and if we don't pick up points here, we're not going to get an opportunity to have any points because our next two games are then Tottenham and Chelsea. Before we play Everton, so we've got to pick something up. I'm going to go 1-0 West Ham because we have to get something.
Okay. I obviously mentioned last week that I think that you will have an upturn in form recently, and I didn't think that the Brighton game was going to be it. However, obviously the fact this is the Conference League, is it?
Yes.
Right.
Quality-wise, we'll win, but it's travelling and what Moyes puts out.
Yeah.
the
That's
team
what I
we
was just going
played.
to say. I think it very much depends on the squad that you take over and which you use. So I'm going to go 2-1 to West Ham on this one.
That's what I did think, but I think I'll just take a 1-0 and cry myself to sleep afterwards. But yeah, so some interesting predictions. Let us know what your predictions are in the comment section over on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Sorry, that was a bit disgusting. But yeah, the only other bit of news I have to bring to the table, Mike, is that Casemiro broke down in tears in his leaving press conference from Real Madrid, and I think that's because reality has set in that he's joining the Manchester United team that are absolutely fucking awful.
Yep. Oh yeah, and I see Ancelotti crying as well. But apparently he's at the stadium today as well. He's been spotted at the stadium. So will he be unveiled to the new fans? God knows. But yes, I'm actually looking forward to this game tonight. I think it'll be very entertaining, if not comical, depending on what Liverpool turns up and what Man United turns up. But yeah, I think next week we need to look into more VAR controversies.
Yep, there's certainly been a few.
No doubt there'll be some more over the weekend. But yeah,
all right. Let's say until next week. I've been Ian.
I've been Mike,
and we'll see you very, very soon. Goodbye.
Thanks very much.